Hey YouTube, Morgan here and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be preparing a recipe I'm super excited for. I've been having a sweet tooth lately, and because I'm eating low carb, it's very hard to satisfy that, especially with chocolate. So today I'm going to be making low carb fudge. It's going to be super simple, it won't take that long at all, and it's only 4 ingredients. We're going to need 2 cups of heavy cream, 3 ounces of butter, which it's going to be a stick and a half at room temperature, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 ounces of dark chocolate. The recipe recommends to use at least 70% dark chocolate. I have a bar or a few bars that are 78%, so my husband and I tried a little bit of that last night before I am making the fudge today, and I have a few extra bars to make a devil's food cake, which is going to be another video coming out soon. So if you want to see that too, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you get notified when I do come out with that video. We're going to be over at my stove for most of this time, and I did say it's not going to take long. There is a chill time, so that's going to be where the patience comes into play, but I think this should be a pretty short video, so let's go ahead and get started. So the very first step to getting this fudge ready is we are going to boil the cream and vanilla together. And while it boils for about a minute, we're going to be stirring constantly. And once we get that minute of boiling time, we're going to turn the heat down a little bit and just simmer it for about 20 minutes or until the cream has reduced by about half. Also, a note about a little bit of prep work I did before starting the video. I did go ahead and chop my chocolate just so that it melts a little bit quicker. I didn't want to just toss in the squares because I thought it might take a little while. So I'm going to turn my heat on to medium-high or so, and I've got my cream added. This is a new vanilla, so bear with me while I open this. And we're going to measure out about a teaspoon. I'll do just 2 capfuls here. And by the way, this does not have any added sugar if you didn't catch that on the ingredient list. So the only sugar this has is anything in the cream, which is not much, and anything in the chocolate, which of course, since it's so high in cocoa content, 78%, there shouldn't be very much sugar in that as well. So I'll go ahead and get this mixed together. It smells good already. I love the smell of vanilla and milk, or cream rather. Milk has more carbs than cream. But we're just going to let this come up to a boil it for about a minute, and then simmer it for about 20 minutes until it's reduced by half. Okay, really quick update. It's in the boiling stage now. I am stirring constantly so that that skin on the top doesn't form. If you've ever heated any dairy, milk, or cream, you know what I'm talking about. It's almost inevitable, and I'm sure once I turn the heat down and I'm just simmering, it'll probably show up, but I'm just trying to make sure nothing scorches and everything boils for about a minute. I actually haven't been timing this, so I'm just kind of playing it by ear. But I think I'm getting pretty close to that minute, so I'll go ahead and turn my temperature down. And the recipe doesn't say anything about stirring during the simmering process, so I'm just going to check on it occasionally and make sure everything's looking good. I might stir the skin in every once in a while. But I'm just going to let it kind of do its thing. Let's see if it comes back up to a simmer. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to let it do its thing for about 20 minutes. Let me see if I can tell how much liquid I've got here right now. Just splash the sides, so let me clean off my measuring. Looks like about a little bit less than 2 cups, so some of the water is already boiled off. That's fine. So when I get down to about, I'll let it simmer a little bit more, probably about 15 or 20 minutes until the cream has reduced by half, and then I will toss the butter in, melt that, and then once the butter is melted, I gotta take it off the heat and stir in the chocolate. Alright, it has been 20 minutes. I have been stirring this occasionally. While I was waiting on this to simmer down, I did line an 8x8 glass baking dish with parchment paper. The recipe recommends 7x7, but I don't have that, so we're doing 8x8. And I'm gonna still try to get 24 pieces out of it. I don't know exactly, I don't think that'll make a huge difference in the serving size. And I don't think I've made a note of this yet, but each square of the fudge will be about 2 grams of carbs. So I can have about 2.5 squares for a snack. Now, I don't think I'll have exclusively that as a snack. I think that might still kind of spike my blood sugar because it's luxurious, but maybe that's just my way of thinking because there isn't any added sugar in here. So I am going to go ahead, and this has cooked down about halfway. So I'm going to go ahead and add my butter in here and stir that in. By the way, this cream has thickened up quite a bit. So when I first added the cream, when I heated it up, it really thinned out. It was almost the consistency of milk, which makes sense because when you typically warm things, they get thinner. But I've been boiling the water out, therefore increasing the thickness. So I'm going to go ahead and get my butter tossed in here. This is room temperature. It's been sitting on my counter overnight. And I think they do that so that it doesn't cool off way too quickly, cool the cream off way too quickly. And I'll just stir this until the butter melts. It probably would have been better if I had cut this up a little bit. It'll melt faster, but it's not a big deal. Honestly, this has so much fat in it, maybe it wouldn't spike my blood sugar, because that does help kind of slow down how quickly your body processes the carbs. And I'm just going to stir this until I don't see any more butter lumps. It smells so good. It already smelled good before I added the butter, but man, that just took it to the next level. And now it looks like my butter is fully incorporated. I'll go ahead and turn the heat off. Take this off the heat, and I'm going to add my chocolate and stir until that is well combined. Now, if you wanted to, this would be a good time to add any other flavors that you might want to add. I asked my husband, do you want me to add any coffee or mint? And those two really sound good to me, but he was a little concerned about me adding espresso powder into it because I'm pregnant and I'm trying to avoid caffeine. So I'm going to forego that this time. I'm just going to do the standard recipe to see how rich it is and see if we like it. And I imagine I'll probably be making this again, so I can add whatever I want next time. I am going to add pecans. He did want pecans in here. So once I get the chocolate melted, before this cools completely, I'm going to chop up some pecans and toss those. I don't know if I'll toss them in here. I'll probably toss them in the baking dish, and just pour this over the top. Or maybe I'll just sprinkle the pecans on top. I haven't really decided yet. It smells really good. I was a little bit worried about how rich and bitter this would taste because the chocolate is so chocolatey. 78% is pretty dark for somebody that likes milk chocolate, and no sugar added also. So we shall see, but I think it's going to be really good. It smells really good. It smells kind of like hot chocolate. I am trying to scrape the bottom of my pan. I'll give you a quick update since you can't really see what I'm doing now. It's gotten way darker. The chocolate is getting nice and melted. It did start out a little bit grainy in terms of the look of the chocolate just while it was melting down. But I'm trying to make sure there's no melted chocolate stuck to the bottom or sides. And that everything I've added has gotten nice and melted down and well combined. Okay, before this cools too much, I'm going to get my pecans chopped, and I'll meet you back over on the other side of my kitchen and we can get everything assembled. Alright, I chopped up probably about a half a cup of pecans. I've got some added to the bottom here, and actually I'm glad I did it this way because this helped weigh down the parchment paper a little bit better so that I should have clean corners. I'm going to go ahead and grab my fudge mixture, pour it on top, and then top it with the rest of my pecans. The recipe also says at this point, once you get the fudge added to your baking dish, if you want to go ahead and sprinkle some cocoa powder on top, you can do that. I'm going to skip that this time since I'm putting the pecans on there. But it's just another option that you got if you're going to try to make this recipe. I wasn't exactly sure if this would be enough pecans, so let's go ahead and get these added and let's see. That's actually pretty good looking. I have a little bit more pecan dust. Let me go grab that. Alright. I'm feeling the bottom of this to see how warm it is. It doesn't actually feel that warm on the bottom. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick this in the fridge. It needs to chill in the fridge for 3 hours before we portion it out. But I will be back with you after that. We can cut it all up and give it a taste. So our 3-hour recommended time frame has elapsed, and as you can see, it was set enough to take out of the fridge and out of the baking dish, but you'll see here in a minute when I go to cut it, it's still pretty soft. It was a little bit difficult to portion out at this stage. For us, it was finally ready to be portioned properly and was easy to take apart from the rest of the fudge block, probably at the 24-hour mark instead of the 3 hours, and I'm not quite sure why this is. I'm not sure if maybe I put it into the fridge while it was still too warm, or if it's because I didn't let the cream cook down enough, or what the issue was, but it tasted delicious. We did go ahead and taste some while it was still soft like this, but we did prefer it a little bit more set up. So just keep that in mind when you make this recipe if you do. And about the flavor, it's not very sweet at all. It does taste like dark chocolate, and my husband was a huge fan. He loves dark chocolate. I honestly liked it too. I could eat 2 pieces and my blood sugar was fine afterwards. In fact, this was one of the things that helped me discover I can't have milk at night because the milk is actually what spikes my blood sugar more. The fudge was fine and I could have that for snacks and after a meal, and it was really great. We ended up eating probably about half of this before something else in the fridge got onto it and I had to toss the rest, but I will definitely be making this again. If you wanted to add a little bit of sweetness because you're not low carb or you just want it a little bit sweeter, you could use whatever you want. I know that there are several low carb sweetener options. I just opted for a recipe that didn't have any added sweeteners because I'm trying to not only avoid high carbs but also artificial ingredients. So highly would recommend this recipe. Give it a try if you are craving some chocolate and looking for something that is a little bit on the healthier side, and let me know what you think about this video. I'd really love it if you give me a thumbs up if you liked it. It'll let me know to keep making content like this. Of course, if you know somebody that would benefit, pass my channel along to them so they can check out my recipes as well. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you get notified when I have new content come out. Hope to see you around next time. Bye guys!